If you work in the audiovisual industry, you are a filmmaker, you are a videographer, you generally just create content. Then, the most important intellectual property that you should pay attention to is copyright. Trust me, today's episode and case study is going to give you an in depth knowledge about how to protect yourself in this digital era. What are the available remedies, enforcement procedures? What are the options you have, especially now that we have a new, it's not like new, I mean, it's over a year already. So stay tuned and welcome, guys.
Hey guys. Hi guys. Hey guys. Hey.
This is not your average podcast, trust me. This is IPSERIES, where you learn to protect and safeguard all your intellectual property so you can make a career of what you love. Join me, Rita Chinda, as we discuss all things intellectual property from the world of fashion, film, media, entertainment, dispute resolution, and even technology. Welcome. 8th of May happened to be a very good day for Mr. Adebayo Salami Awudizium, who is also a filmmaker and a lawyer, after his recent win against the YouTube channel Afurefo TV, owned by Murphy Burn International. The Federal High Court had awarded him the sum of 25 million naira 3 years after he had commenced the lawsuit against the YouTube channel for distributing, publishing, and reproducing his movie titled Survival of Jelili or Jelili, um, which apparently made about 28 million naira at the box office here in Nigeria. So today's IB series is going to delve into the conversation of the most important IP for audiovisual works. We're going to talk about privacy, copyright infringement for online content, and how you can protect yourself in this digital era. So, as a filmmaker, have you had your movie uploaded on YouTube without your consent? If yes, are you aware of the provisions of section 55, 50, 54, 55, 56, 60, 61, and 63? We're also going to be looking at the rights of a filmmaker. The Copyright Act 2022, Nigerian Copyright Act 2022, makes provision for issues relating to online infringement of your content. And if you've been following me for the last 4 years, yeah, we are four. If you've been following me for the last 4 years, you must have heard me talk about what copyright infringement is. But when I'm talking about that, I try to relate it to the dispute in question. What is the infringing act in question? So we're going to be looking at the legal aspect of the film industry issues, especially in relation to piracy. I mean, previously we were dealing with manual piracy, copy paste, burning CDs, etc. Now in the digital era, it's easy for anyone to, you're dealing with ease of reproduction where someone can just use technology to actually um, get your movie, put it on the platform, and stream. I think the musicians also suffer the same thing. Book authors also suffer the same things. And also during the NFT metaverse era, there were a little bit of cases. Everyone breaching the line, not knowing what the thin line is between what is right, consumers' rights, IP owners' rights, and all of this. And so there's so much to unpack in this conversation. There are issues as to distribution structure, um, internet distribution, film laws. I don't want to. Let's just get into the complexity of what a filmmaker or a videographer or basically a digital content creator would need to do in order to protect and enforce their intellectual property right. So first option for you in regarding how you can ask someone to take down your infringing content from say a YouTube platform is exploring the takedown procedure as provided for under the YouTube dispute resolution mechanism and copyright infringement procedure. um, a cease and desist letter will not work in this instance because you're looking for immediate feedback, immediate action to be taken. So the complexity when it comes to notices and takedown, the takedown ecosystem. Now this is post 1 year of the Nigerian copyright, and I've not seen any publication where someone has actually used this method to resolve copyright related issue. So what are the challenges in relation to anonymous aggregators? Are there privacy concerns? How do you strengthen um, the copyright system, the industry itself? Um, what are penalties for false notice and takedown proceedings? So if you own a YouTube channel and you distribute Nollywood movies and other audiovisual work or their musical work without the consent of a copyright owner, please, please, and please, if you're listening to me, even if you're not listening to me, and you know anybody doing it, or maybe there's this channel on YouTube that you enjoy watching their content, they're not, and you've looked at the details about the movie or the copyright work, and the name on the channel and in the details you find there are not the same, please, 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 you can help us just report the post. I see that a lot of Nollywood actors, filmmakers are also delving into exploring YouTube as a form of distribution for their works, but I'm digressing. So um so yeah, it cease and desist, just cease and desist triggered a notice that the YouTube online this resolution mechanism has made provisions for. um Ensure that the notice is accurate and that there is a statutory damage provision. um the takedown procedure under the Copyright Act is the answer to internet piracy for filmmakers and producers. Takedown procedures is the best enforcement mechanism for online related content dispute. Now, in Nigeria, you must meet the following requirements when you decide to issue a notice. Your copyright must enjoy protection. Um, you can use um TDP, that's take down proceedings, or let's say take down notice, that is TDN, as a tool for you basically just see it as a tool for reducing the docket of the court, even though we need precedents for guidance and enforceability protection. um One of the questions that people ask or conversations that we had regarding this procedure is, can the internet service provider or the online service provider be treated as the publisher of the copyright content? And can they also be held liable? I think this will depend on what the provisions of the law is within your jurisdiction, because copyright, like every other intellectual property, is territorial in nature. So, under the Nigerian Copyright Act, you first issue a written notice to the relevant internet service provider to take down or disable access to the infringing content, which in this case is the Survival of Jelili or Jelili, I don't know how it's pronounced, but forgive me, guys. Um, so you're basically going to send a written notice to the relevant intellectual intellect, internet service provider to take down or disable access to the filmmaker's content. You're going to include your physical or electronic signature. Um, put some form of identification of the alleged infringing work, including sufficient information to be able to locate the material online. sufficient information to locate the sender of the notice, such as email, telephone number, or address. They're also going to get what is called a declaration of oath that the sender of the notice, which in this case now is Mr. Femi, believes that he never authorized Murphy. Try hold on, guys. He never authorized Murphy Ben International um, YouTube channel Afro TV to um, host Survival of Jelili on the internet service provider system or network. Then you're going to also attach a statement that this information is true. Now, internet service providers are basically protected under the law if they are neutral, they are automated and passive. They also don't take active role in participating or intervene in the making available of the content of Mr. Femi, who in this case is the film producer on YouTube. And finally, they are able to delegate an agent or an email address or address on their website to receive such notices. So you find this under section 62, sub 1, paragraph A, B, and subparagraph 1 to 2. Now, the court or the Nigerian Copyright Commission has the power to direct the internet service provider to actually terminate or prevent infringement online. The court also has the power to order the service provider to identify the alleged infringer subject to the application of the sender, who must include a copy of the notification, a sworn declaration that the purpose of the order is to identify, see, I'm stressing it, identify an alleged infringer, um, protecting intellectual property rights as provided under the Copyright Act 2022. The court can also order that the service provider um, gives them the relevant information to identify the alleged infringer based on the information available to them. Especially now when you're dealing with anonymous accounts, anonymous people, everyone hiding behind keypads and stuff like that. And again, a service provider shall not be liable for monetary relief for infringement or of copyright just because they held they linked users to an online location containing the infringing content belonging to the filmmaker, including directory, index, reference, pointer, hypertext link, except they respond timelessly um, to remove or disable access to the material claimed to be infringing or to be the subject of the infringing activity. They also did not benefit financially directly directly from the infringing activity, especially where they have the right and ability to control such activity. And finally, that the service provider had no actual knowledge of the anonymous aggregators infringing an activity. And upon noticing or coming into that information, they removed the disabled access to the material and complied with the procedure for suspension of accounts of a repeated infringer. Now, an internet service provider or online service provider has the burden of immediately removing the infringing content, or like the burden of compliance to remove the infringing copies. Now, section 57, um section 55, there's a timeline for all of this. So there's a 7 days for which um Murphy Murphy Ben International would counter respond, and then Mr. Femi will also respond. So I'm using the parties in this case so you understand basically what the procedure is all about. Then appeal lies or goes straight to the Nigerian Copyright Commission. So for TDP or TDN, which is takedown proceedings or takedown notices, it's pretty straightforward. Everything has to be in writing and everything has to be done timelessly. Everything has to be done immediately. You get, so I hope with this little point of mine be able to understand what is the first step for you to do. Notice and this letter, you go through an agent or go through a lawyer for this, or do the letter of notice yourself. Next up, we'll be talking about why piracy is considered to be the predictor waiting for the perfect moment to strike in this digital era. I mean, in the manual era, there were a lot of middlemen. It was sort of easier for you to be able to track. But now, where a lot of this piracy are taking place online, it's a bit difficult. Now, one of the good things about the terms and conditions of a social media, even though a lot of us never read, myself included, say for when I'm drafting for someone, but the reason why you have an IP clause or a disposition clause is for this, helping track piracy online, helping, trying to be able to um cut out the middlemen who are always thinking. I mean, sometimes I ask myself, why is it that all of these people who do these things, why don't they take that technology and build something new instead of looking for ways just and say, okay. For instance, remember when Coming to America 2 came out and in less than 24 hours the movie was already everywhere. I think as well we had another piracy related issue in Nigeria last year. Trying to remember the movie now, but can't wrap my head around it. But then those are the questions that always come to mind. Okay, so the time you're using to sit down and say, oh, just because I want to give people access to this and make money from this, here's what I need to do. And then you sit down, start crafting. All that time you're putting in, you should have built something and collaborated with these people, the filmmakers, the industry people, trying to make sure that this work actually gets to the consumers for a lesser price. She'll get. But you find out that with piracy is basically like the illegal reproduction of an audio visual work eligible under the Nigerian Copyright Act, and also threatens the entertainment and film industry. So illegal reproduction and commercial exploitation. That is like the bottom line or the salient point or killers when talking about piracy. Now, copyright for audiovisual works already protects the original expression of the filmmaker or the film producer or the videographer and gives them the exclusive right to exploit and commercialize the bundle of rights, the economic bundle of rights as provided under the law, such as the right to reproduce, to distribute, to adapt, to translate, to publish, and also trigger the moral rights, which gives them the right to object to any kind of modification, alteration that may cause harm to their reputation, and also get to benefit from all this commercial exploitation. Um, they enjoy it for a term of duration. So it can be divided and licensed in a number of ways for a duration of time. So plus life. So it's life plus um 50 years, and then you have like special number of broadcast, exhibition, distribution in perpetuity through video on demand, pay-per-view, internet download, streaming videos, cable, in-flight movie. I do recall one of my trips. I didn't sleep all through. I just kept watching movies till we landed. That was cruise for me anyway. 11 to 5, my eyes were open. Now we have the likes of Netflix. If you're less busy, so it's a weekend and you just want to let loose, you can do all night stuffs like that. I'm not encouraging bad thing anyway. There's also satellite via a film or TV digital, home video, literary works, merchandise. So these are ways that a filmmaker or someone in the audiovisual industry can actually commercialize and exploit their work. Now, the intellectual property rights a filmmaker enjoys in an audio visual work, I already mentioned that. Okay, so but I'm just going to elaborate it in a different format. So we have the copyright itself, you have ownership of treatment and synopsis, you have adaptation rights, you have other proprietary rights in the resulting motion picture, you have trademark rights in the film title or images of his character. Reminds me of the Domitila case we had. Then I think Marvel is really big on um, character merchandising. They also have the right to create another work of such as video games, TV series, um, the movie. So it's more or less like an animation for children, and that's the hold on, this film by Hugo. Is it Iwaju? It premiered on Disney Plus. Okay, hold on, let me confirm. Yes, I just confirmed that I was right. It's Iwaju, which premiered, or it's an animated series, animated series, anyways, that premiered on Disney Plus, and I think it's also going to be showing on DSTV. Iwaju, A Day Ahead. Yeah, that's the name. Um, we also had the Ake and Popo movie, which is like a franchise, and then they created like a video game last year. I have an episode with that with Omotayo Queen, so you can check that episode out. Then let's see, TV series. Currently, everyone is watching and oohing and ahhing about Bridgerton. I'm like, I mean, there are short clips everyone be sharing, and everyone is looking out for their. I think there's a famous, just like for season 1 and 2, we now have season 3 famous line where it's like something something can the only place I find solace is when I go to sleep because I see you in my dream, blah 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 blah. And then that last 15 seconds, oh my god. Anyways, let's carry on. You have the right to create another work. Just finished talking about that. Then you have the right to authorize the use of um clips or likeness of the film actor for promotions. All of this can enable the distribution side of the film business. Now, common copyright materials that go into making of films. You have the script, you have music, you have performance, you have artistic works such as backdrop painting, images, which all enjoy copyright protection independently. Okay. Now, um, other measures that a filmmaker can use to solve online content disputes is the technological protection measure. Per section 50 is defined to be so let's give me a particular example. So let's use this survival of Jelili case. Let's say for instance that Mr. Femi put an encryption or just put in something that will not enable third parties to be able to download or access um his movie without his consent. And Murphy and International went ahead to create a device or product or technology to bypass that thing by removing or deactivating or decrypting or avoiding um, that work or tech device or technology that was incorporated into the Survival of Jelili movie to be able to distribute it on their platform. So basically, technology protection protects a work if the measure in the ordinary course of its operation controls access. So access is like the key word. Anything that controls access to a copyrighted work under the act or prevent or restricts acts in respect of the work that are not authorized by the author concerned or permitted by law, um, which in the normal course of operation only controls access to a work for non-infringing purpose. And putting on YouTube is not a non-infringing purpose. You cannot cry or claim fair dealing in this instance. Now, this exception will only apply in respect of a work where an identical copy of the work is not available in another form, especially when you're talking about the special provision for the blind, non-profit libraries, archive, educational institution, and this doesn't fall under it. Then you have um, section 37, which talks about the illegal reproduction and exploitation it may be subject to arbitration or any other means. So, in the event of this dispute, instead of Mr. Femi suing Murphy Ben International, Mr. Femi can choose to submit to arbitration or any other means to resolve this infringing act, this distribution and illegal reproduction of the survivor of Jelili. So, action for infringement, you have civil remedies such as damages, injunction, account, or any other available remedies in respect of infringement of other proprietary work. Now, if this was brought by Mr. Femi himself or anybody he gave a license to, they will both have concurrent right of action. The owner or the exclusive licensee may not, without the leave of court, proceed with the action unless the other person is joined as a plaintiff or added as a defendant. Please forgive me, I'm looking sweet, okay? Um, then you have section 39, which talks about section 38 rather, which talks about order for inspection or seizure, which is similar to an Anton pillar order. Now, in this instance, you will get Mr. Femi will get an ex parte application that will be made to the court, supported with an affidavit to show reasonable cause that in Murphy Ben International premises, there is an infringing copy of the Survival of Jelili or a device or film or anything intended to use or capable of being used for the purpose of making infringing copies of Survival of Jelili. The court will issue this order that the house at any reasonable time by day or night, Mr. Femi will be accompanied by a police officer or a copyright officer to seize, detain, or preserve the infringing copy, to inspect any document relating to that action in custody, and also anybody who knowingly gives false information commits an offense and is liable to conviction of a fine of at least 100,000. I mean, kudos, guys, the drafters, anyways, or an infringement, or an imprisonment for a term of at least 1 year or both. Then we have section 40, which talk about forfeiture of infringing copies, where in this instance, still using this case study now, Murphy Ben International has a copy of Survival of Jelili in his possession or custody, the course of business, or controls an article designed or attempt or adapted for making copies of Survival of Jelili, knowing or having reason to believe that it has been used or will be used to make infringing copies. Mr. Femi, who is the owner of the copyright, may apply to the court for an order that the infringing copy be forfeited to him or any other person, or it should be destroyed or otherwise dealt with as the court deem fit. Then you have section 49, which talks about infringement actionable as a breach of statutory duty, which permits for Mr. Femi to be entitled to any award of damages, injunction, or any other remedy as the court may deem fit to award in the circumstance. So this is also in reference to section 14, which talks about moral right. Remember, moral right gives Mr. Femi or any other copyright owner the right to prevent or object to any modification, alteration, or any alteration, basically anything that will cause harm to their reputation, that is not in line with what the initial work was intended, to object and seek relief in connection to any distortion, mutilation, or modification. Then we move to section 45 and Section 49 for anti-piracy measures. Yeah. So 45 talks about aiding and procuring copyright offense. So any person who aids or procures another person to commit an offense. So if Ben Murphy Ben International brings another person to the premises or business to commit an offense, they shall be liable on conviction for the same punishment. While Section 49 talks about the anti-piracy measures, which gives the Copyright Commission the power, with the consent of the minister, to prescribe any design, label, mark, impression on any other anti-piracy device for use, for which a copyright succeeds, and any person who sells, rents, hires, or offers for sale, retail, rental, hire, any work commits an offence liable to a fine of at least 500,000 naira or imprisonment for a term of at least 3 years or both. And any person who without the consent and permission of the commission imports into Nigeria or has in his possession any machine instrument that is intended for the production of anti-piracy device commits an offence and is liable to a conviction or fine to at least 1 million naira and imprisonment for a term of 5 years. Any person who also without the permission of the commission reproduces or counterfeits any anti-piracy device is liable to a fine of 500,000 or imprisonment of 3 years. Any person again who without the permission of the commission is in possession of any anti-piracy device described in section 49, unless he can prove to the satisfaction of the court that he did not know or had no reason to believe that such device was a prescribed anti-piracy device, commits an offence and is liable to a fine of 100,000 or imprisonment for a term of at least 1 year or both. The Copyright Commission has the power, with the consent of the minister, to make regulations specifying the condition necessary to give effect to this bill. Now, I haven't seen the regulation, but there's this compendium of IP laws that I used to have. It had like the regulations. Um, then we'll look at section 51, which talks about falsification, alteration, or removal of rights management information. Now, what is a rights management information? Basically, helps identifies a work or subject matter, the author or the owner or any rights in it, including information about the terms and condition of its use, any number or code that represents such information attached to or appearing in connection with the communication to the public of the works or subject matter. So any person a person shall not knowingly and with the intent to induce, enable, facilitate, or conceal infringement provide rights management information that is false. The person shall not also, without the authority of the copyright owner, knowingly remove or alter any rights management information or offer for sale, distribute, import for distribution, broadcast, communicate the work to the public, knowing or having reasonable grounds to know the rights management information have been removed or altered without authority, and that it will induce, enable, facilitate, or conceal an infringement of any act. So, last but not the least, I keep forgetting, yeah, restriction on importation, where the owner of the copyright work will write a letter or a notice in writing to the Director General of the Copyright Commission, notifying the Nigerian Customs Service to treat any prohibited good as work in respect of the work infringed. And upon receiving that notice, the Director General or the Comptroller General of Customs or any officer in charge of the relevant border furnishing you with information shall intercept and impound the infringing work and shall permit the Director General or any person acting on his behalf to inspect and impound and give the work, take custody of the same pending commencement of any proceeding in accordance with the provision. Any work impounded shall not be kept for a period. Okay, hold on. This is a new law, so yeah. Any work or material impounded under this act shall not be kept for a period exceeding 10 working days, which may be extended by another 10 working days, within which the right owner of the commission or the commission shall decide whether or not to initiate any proceeding in accordance with the law. Where an infringing work has been intercepted or impounded by the Comptroller General or anybody in charge, they shall notify the importer and the right holder. The specific period of the notice under the law shall not exceed 5 years, nor extend beyond the end of the period for which the copyright subsists. Where notice has been given, the importation into Nigeria or exportation from Nigeria during the period specified in the notice, except for private or domestic use, of the notice shall be prohibited. So these are the other measures for solving okay online content dispute. Now, because Murphy Ben International is a body corporate, the company, the owner of the YouTube channel Afro wait the name is funny anyways, it's Aforefo TV, and its principal officers would have been deemed to have committed the infringement and will be liable. However, if they can prove that it was committed without their knowledge or all due diligence was exercised to prevent the commission of the offense, that is uploading um the Survival of Jelili as Cody Ologbon Aye, then the they won't be liable to any form of punishment. Furthermore, Mr. Femi can prove that the offense was committed with the Murphy Ben International media company, or that the connivance of any director, manager, secretary, or any of officer there shall also be deemed to have committed the offense, and they shall be liable and proceeded against and punished accordingly. Murphy Ben, if convicted, the court may order that its assets or property be forfeited unless it can prove that the proceed wasn't gotten from the illegal distribution and exploitation of the survivor of Jelili as Kodi Ologbon ID. So remember I was talking about remedy. So we have account of profit, assessing damages. Damages awarded here was 25 million. In order to get to that part, you have to do like an IP valuation, show and prove to the court that this is the amount you'd have made within the last 3 years if Murphy Burn International had gotten a license from you to distribute on their Aforefo TV YouTube channel. The court can also issue an injunction that Aforefo TV stops showcasing the movie. A ooh, you can also ask for attorney's fee or lawyer's fee and additional damage as the court deem fit by giving regards to the flagrancy of the infringement, any benefits that Murphy Bear International through their YouTube channel Afo 4 TV um, benefited. So basically, this section or this conversation is about infringement by a body corporate. So whether the person is an individual, the procedure if the person is a body corporate such as Murphy Ben International, you know what to do now, I believe. Right? Yeah. So this resolution mechanism, the ISP, ODR or ADR proceeding, the courts, the NCC, um remember I said this will not work in this instance, and that is my own belief. But if a colleague has a separate view, please don't forget to email me at ipseriesinfo@gmail.com. So in wrapping up, if you are a filmmaker, a film producer, you work in the film industry, know that you still have copyright in the work as long as it meets the requirement of originality, irrespective of the quality, and it's in a fixed or tangible format. The law now makes provisions for you to register your work. So the word used there is made, so it's not mandatory. But it's very important, especially in the event of a dispute such as this, for you to show proof where you get a certified true copy from the Nigerian Copyright Commission stating that Mr. Femi Adebayo Salame is the original owner of the film titled Survival of Jelili and not Ben Murphy parading itself under the movie title Kodi Ologbon Aye. You can also do a trademark registration. Think of it as a revenue channel for creating merch, for building a franchise out of the movie. I mean, we're seeing that with Anikulapo, Domitila. I'm focused on Nigeria movie now. I was expecting that Wedding Party would toe the line, but it never did. There's this guy on Twitter, on Imo. Everyone calls him cousin. I think what drew my attention to him was the Herbert McCullen movie. Now we have the Ransom Kuti movie. I do not know of any existing merch, but there've been good publicity about the movie. There've been good review. I'm hoping to see it this week or next week. So if you would like to join me at the cinema, you must be based in Port Harcourt, and it has to be let's see, a Thursday or a Saturday, not Sunday. Not leaving my house on Sunday. It has to be a Thursday or on Saturday. So send me an email to ipseriiesinfo@gmail.com or a DM to IPSeries. No, DM is at IPSeries with Esmeralda ASQ or at Esmeralda1. Email is ipseriesinfo@gmail.com, telling me why you deserve to watch the Kuti movie that just came out. Okay? Finally, you always work with a lawyer or a law firm knowledgeable in film law, copyright law. As Nigerians would say, e get why. See you in the next episode, guys. Thank you for listening to IP Series Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget to share it with your friends, family, and colleagues. You can also follow us on Instagram at IP Series with Esmeralda ESQ or Twitter at IP Series 1 or send us an email to ipseriesinfo@gmail.com. Until next time, stay tuned and stay informed.